First piece of gear I ever had was a blue, no name brand, like Target style drum set that I had for like the first 5 years we were in a band. I just recently got like an actually good drum set, but I always played on the worst stuff ever just because I didn't have any money. But yeah, my parents got me a really, really crappy blue, I want to say, I forget, I don't know even know what it's called, a brand that does not exist anymore, like 3-piece drum set. That's my first piece of gear.
$25 Les Paul copy. My friend's brother had it, and it was called Encore was the brand, and it was like the crappiest guitar ever. And I bought that from him, and that was like my first guitar, and I just like immediately wrote songs on it, and just, I mean, I learned like 3 chords. I never learned anybody else's songs. To this day, I know like 5 other songs that are on my own. I just started writing songs, and that was the first thing. And like so many things in life, I sold it, or traded it. And I mean, I don't really wish I had it, but it would be awesome. I covered it in stickers and all that stuff, and it would never stay in tune, and everything on it was totally worthless, but it still worked enough to start the journey, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, that was my first piece of gear.
I owned a Harmony guitar from JCPenney, and I had to return it after a month because the neck completely twisted around just from sitting in my bedroom. And I hated playing guitar, and I still hate playing guitar, and I just do it because I don't know what else to do.
My first piece of music equipment was a xylophone, and I loved it, and it worked forever until I lost it.
Probably a set of drumsticks, but then it was my dad got me a Yamaha DP drum set in the mid-90s, and it was like the entry-level Yamaha kit.
I started out by playing piano when I was 4. And then, so I think a Yamaha U3 piano was the first instrument that I had. It was bought to me by my parents because they kind of sensed that there's a talent, somewhere deep within me.
Well, I guess it was a guitar. My dad gave me a Squier Stratocaster that was perfect for me when I was 10 or whatever, because I just loved Blink-182 and silly stuff like that. So that was good. And then the first amp I bought was it was a Fender Princeton. It's like a little single speaker combo amp that had a lot of reverb, and it was cool.
Sat in my garage for a long time.
Long time. What'd you get?
So I mean, I never really intended to play drums, but I had a brother who played bass who once convinced me to ask a good friend of mine if I could borrow his drum set that was sitting in his attic for a really long time. And our parents were going out of town one weekend, and it's like, hey, grab the drums, ask him if you could borrow them. We'll set them up in the garage, we'll jam. And so he convinced me, and I got the drums, and I ended up keeping them. But there was a Pearl Export series with real shot cymbals and stands that didn't necessarily work. I'm pretty sure I didn't even have a clutch for the hi-hat that worked properly for the first few years that I played drums. But that was my drum set for the first 4 years.
A cream Fender Squier precision bass.
I think my first was an El Degas, some kind of a weird Strat knockoff. It was a pile of shit, but I used it for 6 years because I'm poor.
Neither of those had whammy bars on it?
No, we're not real musicians.
That's pretty lame. The first thing I co-owned that bass with Jesse. First drum kit was a Tama Rockstar, circa 1980 something, and it was white.
A really shitty bass a guy sold me when I was 12 years old, and said it's a very unknown but super cool brand. And a couple of years later I found out that brand doesn't even exist, and he built it on his own, and that bass sucked.
It was a Yamaha keyboard. It was a Yamaha PSS 270, and it was really cool because I wanted to play drums. And my parents told me, oh look, there's a drum set inside, so you can play melodies and have the drum set. And I was like, yeah, not really.
This Frankenstein Bass that my dad got me, that he bought from a local music shop, that was like a Fender P-bass body, like late 50s style P-bass body with the big bell rim thing on it. and it had a 3/4 scale neck put on it, so it wasn't like a full scale length bass. It was like this short little bass for an 8-year-old kid to play. And I remember for some reason giving it to a friend who then sold it for like drugs or something. And I've always wanted it back because, it's your first like, it's like a child, And I stupidly got rid of it and I don't know where it is anymore.